What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Garrett. I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller showing you guys how you can make a living off Amazon as well. In today's video, we're going to be working on sourcing brands to reach out to in efforts to open up brand direct wholesale accounts with them, particularly using and leveraging Smartscout. Smartscout's going to be an awesome tool to be able to accumulate a lot of data super quickly and efficiently to be able to make decisions in terms of whether to reach out to brand X or brand Y, or both, or none of them. So stay tuned for the video and enjoy. So we're going to be working to build out a leads list, so to speak, of brands that we want to be reaching out to and really positioning ourselves with in an attempt to open up bulk purchasing accounts and wholesale accounts with these specific brands, right? We want to be buying directly from the brand. And part of this process is really qualifying brands in the beginning of the process to not waste a lot of effort, right? And this is the benefit of going brand direct, is because we can front load a lot of this qualification as opposed to sourcing and reaching out to a bunch of regional suppliers, local suppliers, wholesale accounts that have multiple brands and getting the catalog at the back end. This way we can qualify brands as it pertains to their average velocity, average price point, Amazon being in and out of stock, the brand being on the listings, those sorts of things. So we want to make sure each and every account we reach out to is actually a brand that we want to be selling. And so we're going to be using Smartscout to establish a lot of these qualifications. And those qualifications are really made possible by these filters on the top of our page. And the way we kind of administer our outreach is we like to batch our outreach within specific categories, right? So we'll, for example, reach out to and create a list of pet supply brands that we want to reach out to, do that outreach over the span of a couple of weeks, and then move on to a different category, and then kind of rotate through Amazon's categories across Amazon's entire catalog. So in today's example, let's just use pet supplies as an example, right? If we establish that search criteria, Smartscout will populate and itemize all of the brands that fall within the pet supplies category in our little reference sheet, right? We see 37,000 brands that fall into this category. And as we start to leverage more of these filters, this result list is going to shrink, and it's going to become a lot more surgical and strategic and pertinent to brands that we really, really want to be reaching out to, right? The result is going to be, a couple of hundred, maybe less than 1,000 of brands that we want to reach out to that are very, very high quality, high converting brands. And the good thing with Smartscout, and the main difference between Smartscout and Keyword Product Finder, which you can somewhat do the same sort of thing, is that Smartscout accumulates its data, right? And so Smartscout will take averages across the entire brand as it comes to the buy box price, as it comes to the amount of sellers on the listing, as it comes to Amazon being in and out of stock, as it comes to the brand being on those listings. All these major metrics that we're looking for in order to qualify the brands, it allows us to accumulate that data and allow us to make sort of macro level decisions as it comes to comparing brand X to brand Y to brand Z. And so that's really what is powerful with Smartscout. And so as we start to build out our filters, the big one that we want to use, if we scroll over here to the dominant seller, we're looking for brands that obviously Amazon's out of stock on over the long period of time. But more importantly, the brand is also out of stock on and not selling themselves, right? Because if we are reaching out to brand X and they are on their listing on Amazon, it's not likely that outreach is going to be successful. And so the reason why this filter is important, I filtered it, is this lists any seller that has buy box ownership over 60%, I think it is. Over 60%. So if inside this brand, if there's one particular seller that owns more than 60% of the buy box, it'll list them. And so in trying to avoid brands that are already kind of situated with a specific seller that's owning a lot of the buy box, whether it's the brand, whether it's some contracted third-party seller, whether it's Amazon, we want to avoid all of those. Hey, quick commercial break. I appreciate you guys supporting and following the channel. If you are enjoying this particular video, which I'm assuming you are if you're still watching it to this point, make sure you subscribe to the channel, scroll down, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out, helps the channel out. Let's get back to the content. And so if we filter on the blanks, the result of that will be a bunch of brands that do not have a dominant seller. Theoretically, brands that possess a lot more opportunity for us to come in and gain a buy box share. So we're left with 19,000 brands that do not have a dominant seller, which is what we want. We also want to couple that with, we'll say minimum of 4 FBA sellers on these listings. Again, trying to minimize the private label opportunity. We want to also situate for us personally a minimum selling price of about 15, right? We use a prep center in efforts to prep our products. So small and light doesn't necessarily work for us. So we'll set a $15 minimum average selling price. We will also set a maximum of about $650,000 in monthly revenue pertinent to that specific brand, right? We want to be our ideal brand to reach out to is sort of like the small to medium sized brands that aren't too big, but also aren't too saturated with sellers already. That's why we use the dominant seller filter. That's why we're also using this monthly revenue filter, right? We're looking for the small to medium sized brands. For an example, if we're working with sports and outdoors in this scenario, right? We don't want to be reaching out to like the Yetis, the Nikes, like the big players in that space, because that's likely they're not going to want to work with us as an Amazon partner. And so we're just going to set a monthly revenue estimate maximum of about 650. You can toggle with this, make it 500, 700, 800, 400, kind of based on the filters and the results that you get. Because our goal is to kind of drill this down to a very manageable sample size of high quality, high converting brands. The last filter we're going to use here is this average review rating filter. And so this is the 1 to 5 star rating for a specific product. And the reason why we want to set this as a minimum of 3 is that we want to be partnering with brands with high quality products. We want to be selling products that are high quality, right? Because if we're selling a bunch of low rated products based on the consumer's perception, it's a higher chance they're going to get returned. It's a higher chance there's going to be negative experiences from the customer, which results in negative feedback, all those sorts of things. And so we just want to be partnering with brands and selling products that are higher quality. And so we're going to pretty much ignore any brand that the accumulation of their products is no less than 3 stars, right? We want to be partnering with brands in terms of the average of their products is 3, 4, 5 stars. And so that looks like it's just about it. And so if we hit this search, the result is going to be 231 products. And we'll make sure our brand filter, our dominant filter is, so we actually want to get rid of this because it eliminated our filter. So now we have 180 brands, which there's no dominant seller, is a small to medium-sized brand, has an average selling price of more than $15, is in the pet supplies category, has 4 more FBA sellers, which eliminates sort of that private label scenario, and they're high-quality products, high-quality brands. And so essentially what's left is 180 brands within pet supplies that are likely going to be higher converting, higher quality brands to reach out to. Now, granted, this doesn't necessarily give any sort of perception into the products of that brand. The last thing we want to do is we're going to want to sort on monthly units sold estimate. And we're kind of going to work high to low, starting with the highest velocity brands going to the lowest velocity. And so this is the qualification. We're not necessarily going to worry too much on price point in terms of buying yet, because inevitably when we win these catalogs, win these accounts, we're going to be able to negotiate the pricing, right? Remember, from wholesale perspective, there's 2 factors that dictate success for a catalog, really dictate the quality of a wholesale catalog: price and velocity. We can dictate price, right? We can negotiate pricing. We can order more quantity. We can, place bigger orders. We can kind of work with pricing in that respect. However, velocity is what velocity is. We're not going to be able to look at the catalog, have all the products have like 400, 300,000 rated in terms of sales rank, and be able to move some of those products, right? If a product is ranked 250,000, it's not likely that we're going to be able to do much to make that less than 100,000 actually move some of those products. And so we're just going to then essentially take this brand, right, Golden Rewards, and throw it into Google and see what it comes up with. And then ideally, we're going to be looking for that specific brand's website, right? So Golden Rewards, if they're not owned by anyone, right, we are looking for sort of like goldenrewards.com, which we didn't necessarily find there. We could obviously do some more digging, do some more looking. but we also always want to be looking for a specific branded website for that particular brand. So in this case, Dr. Marty, that's the brand. We would see drmartypets.com. And then we would come in here, look for some sort of distribution application, wholesale application, B2B portal, something like that. At least some sort of contact information that puts us in the realm to be able to position ourselves and ask for this account. Partnerships, maybe right there. Support, that's an email. There's a phone number here. So you'd either message them, call them, and really just ask them to set up a wholesale application, wholesale account, that sort of thing. And you would just go one by one down all these brands and then just continue your outreach, continue your follow-up until you start to build out your brand direct model inside your Amazon business. That's going to be it for today's video. Guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.